Matt Chapman makes the Cubs better in 2024. Let's break it down next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Best way to support the show is by listening every day on your preferred audio platform and by pressing like and subscribing on YouTube. We are inside 200 subs to 8,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Wednesday episode is presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And a little birdie told me earlier on Tuesday that the FanDuel updates are happening next week. So that might be in our episode budget in terms of win totals, overs, unders, certain things per player, updated odds for the Central, and things like that. So something to keep an eye on as we move forward. 2024 Cubs right now, I'd be really curious to get that over-under win total, Sam, as there's still, as it currently stands, a good number of holes on the team, both offensively and on the pitching side. And we're going to get into one of those dudes that I think, again, we're going to get into all the details and contract scenarios and things like that, but I think he makes the Cubs a lot better this year.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited. Last year, right around this time, it's weird how quickly time goes by, because I remember doing our Hall of Fame episode last year, and I was very perturbed that Scott Rowland was an inductee.
That's right.
I don't know if you recall that. And I actually did that episode from this very spot. It was one of the first ones I think we had done in the new place. So I'm excited to get going and hear you talk about Matt Chapman, and then I get to be the bad guy, the bad cop, which I always am on here, to tell you that it's probably unlikely it's going to happen. But that's what we do on this program. You're the good cop. Everybody likes you. And I'm the bad cop that everybody comes for.
That is the show dynamic, isn't it?
So I'm going to have a sip of water, and you go in and introduce us to the Platinum Glove Award winner, Matt Chapman.
I think we need to start looking at the Cubs from more of a 2024 lens. I get that there's free agents available next winter. There's trades. There's different times that Jed Hoyer can strike. But I really believe that the Northsiders can do a lot of damage starting March 28th this year. And I get it. Chapman probably wants 4 years at the very least. I think you should give him 4 years at the most, but we'll get into that in a minute or two. I see it like this. And again, I get it in the comments, and leave a comment below, but you're going to reference Matt Shaw. You're going to reference James Triantos. You're going to reference BJ Murray. You're going to reference people I don't even know.
I won't be referencing BJ Murray. And before you continue,
well, people will, mark my words.
I don't appreciate when you do this. I am not telling you that I agree or disagree. I'm just telling you what Jed's thinking.
Right. I'm saying you, the audience.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, and I think that, but I do think we're going to disagree on this segment, Sam. I do.
That's fine. You don't have to flash your wedding ring. We know.
Right now, the third base situation is this. And I love Miles Mastrobuoni. I would like him to be on the show every Friday if it was up to me.
Well, we might
coming
pursue
this season.
And we might pursue that.
Mastro and Madrigal at third right now, and Wisdom and Morel are on the periphery.
Sure.
It's okay. Matt Chapman is an established major league player who has been reliable. He's been consistent. He's had flashes of dominance at times, especially with his elite play defensively at third. You mentioned he's a 2-time Platinum Glove winner, 4-time Gold Glove winner. He's only played 7 seasons. Finished 7th in MVP voting in 18, 6th in MVP voting in 19, which I didn't know before I did my homework this afternoon. And the slash line last year, a take it or leave it slash line, Sam, 240, 330, 424, 17 home runs, played in 140 games. He was hitting like 500 on May 1st and then just plummeted. But interesting, he was 15th in baseball in hard contact percentage, squaring the ball up 40% of his at bats. And he also struck out less last year than his previous 3 years. He is a proven player who instantly upgrades the team. Your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts. Agree with everything that you said.
Disagree, though.
He's basically the opposite of Bellinger going into this year. Bellinger, tons of success, not a ton of hard contact. Chapman, tons of hard contact, not a lot of success. If Matt Chapman were to be on the Cubs in 2024, along with Cody Bellinger, and then PCA would be on the team as well. You would have the great. You could, and I am not.
No run scored.
I'm not speaking in hyperbole here whatsoever.
Okay,
you could potentially have one of the greatest defenses in league history. Platinum Glove Award winner at third. Platinum type glove award winner over at short. Gold Glover at second. If you move Bellinger to first, Gold Glover there. PCA may be the best one of them all. Somehow, some way, Ian Happ's a back-to-back Gold Glove Award winner. And then Seiya Suzuki's average over there in right field, and Gomes is solid. You look at the 2016 team that statistically was historically great. This defense would be better than that. I agree with you. I agree with you with the offense. Unfortunately, I think Jed Hoyer right now is in the mood. It's a phrase that I like to use a lot. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. What I mean by that is he wants to try and win the division, and he knows he doesn't need a ton of wins, 87 to 89. But he also wants to get another full year at the big league and minor league level to evaluate the Matt Shaws, to evaluate the Kevin Alcantras, to see. And so to give 4 years to Matt Chapman, what that would create would be this overlap that I think he's trying to avoid. But he knows he has to put out a competitive team next year. So he's kind of walking that tightrope of, I really want to see what these young guys can do. But I also know that I have to potentially win this division. And so he's trying to do both, and it's very difficult to do both. And I understand why fans, including myself, are frustrated that he hasn't spent a bunch of money. But that's kind of the conclusion that I have come to. Now, there is one caveat, Matthew. And the caveat is the longer this takes, and I said this the other day, I think it might have been on yesterday's show, which wasn't our best. The longest this takes, the longer this takes, the more likely maybe somebody like Chapman says, I'll take a 1-year deal with a team with a player option for year 2. Exactly. Just give me a big AAV. And then Jed pounces quicker than you could imagine. So maybe 100% player. Maybe that's the option. But I just don't see Jed giving him 4 years when I'm hearing, industry-wide that Matt Shaw could be, like somebody that got inducted in the Hall of Fame today that played that position.
The second coming of Adrian Beltre.
Yeah. So I think that's the best take. I agree with you, but I also don't want to set it up like, oh, they should, when I'm not sure how realistic it is, but maybe the asking price comes down.
The high AAV would be the best route to that. He would make it the most realistic. It would be the most ideal thing, but what is ideal in a Scott Boras world? Probably not much.
Not having any of his players sign.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's what's ideal.
Well, that would be a failure.
And let's just really quickly, before you elaborate, how bad is this for baseball that all these good players are unsigned? Montgomery, Snell, Chapman, Bellinger, Martinez, Soler. It's almost We're
It's laughable.
we're a few weeks away from pitchers and
It's
catchers.
just a few weeks away, yeah. And the other thing though, Sam, and we've talked about it, not only are they on their couches unsigned, but there's not a lot of teams actually reportedly connected.
No, I
It'd be
don't
one
know.
thing if it was like this team's the front runner for JD Martinez. Not only is it not that, we don't even know who's on him.
I think Blake Snell could be in a booth next year.
Yeah, he might be working for TBS.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I just got done coaching a couple hours
Apple
ago.
TV.
And on the other side of the curtain was a travel team taking ground balls. They're doing
Oh yeah, no, that's
they're doing way more work than a lot of these professionals.
ideally, I would say a 2 or 3 year deal at a really high AAV with an opt out after the first year, and if it's a 3 year deal, opt out after the second.
Yeah, that's well, I think Chapman would do that, but I'm not sure the Cubs haven't. That would be tough for the Cubs to give him 2 opt outs.
I know it would, but he would make,
you really
him and
want Matt Chapman.
Bellinger makes the lineup so much better.
Are you thinking?
Do I have to make a lineup graphic?
Are you trying to buy like a jersey?
No.
Okay.
I might get a Bellinger jersey though. We'll
Okay.
see. I haven't gotten a shirt. I think the last jersey I got was Schwarber in 2015.
Nick got me a Nico Horner one for my birthday a couple years back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the Chapman universe.
So what's our conclusion? Let's come to a conclusion. The conclusion is we both want him for 24. I'm a little bit more understanding of Jed's perspective, and you're kind of pounding the table saying I'm gonna move mountains and I'm gonna leave no stone unturned that he should be on this ball club. So let's see what happens.
So yeah.
All right.
Coming up next, Baseball Hall of Fame was released on Tuesday, and it's going to be more crowded than it has been in the past. Who was inducted? And later on the show, Sammy Sosa, not in the Hall of Fame, but he will be in the Chicagoland area in a couple of months. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here. There's still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explorer tab, and you can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays and so much more. It really is a great app. Again, MLB futures, there's a few of them up there, but there's going to be more released next week, as next week is the last day of January, which is crazy, and we're getting closer to baseball season. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. The 2024 National Baseball Hall of Fame class has been unveiled, and 3 new members will have their entrances to Cooperstown this summer. Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Joe Mauer. Beltre and Mauer are first ballot HOFers, and Helton made it on his 6th try. Additionally, Billy Wagner missed out by 6 votes, and next year will be, conveniently or not, his final year on the ballot. First memories with this group of players, because this is firmly our era now from this point forward.
I'm going to pivot a little bit. I would like to say congrats to the inductees. Billy Wagner should be in there, and I think he will be next year.
Hope so.
I can't have a Hall of Fame conversation without acknowledging that I personally, and look, before you rip me in the comments, my own father disagrees with me on this, and we've argued about it. So I know I'm in the minority here, so you don't have to rip me. I know. I just personally can't take these names and nominees seriously when Barry Bonds isn't in there. Right. And look, A-Rod, Sosa, McGuire, Manny Ramirez, all, but Bonds is the one that I can't. And so I just want to offer up a quick question, then we could talk about these players really quickly, Matt. And I know I'm putting you on the spot. I just a little food for thought here. A little food for thought. Is that the phrase?
Yes.
I understand that taking steroids was cheating. So I get that. But what's a bigger competitive
Well, actually, at the time, it wasn't.
No, but let me ask you this. What's a bigger competitive advantage?
All right.
Taking steroids or PEDs or playing 81 games a year for your whole career at Coors Field? What gives you a bigger edge?
Oh, man.
Right?
I would think if you extrapolate an entire career at a ballpark that's offensive friendly, that might be the bigger one.
The most offensive friendly. Right. So
Right.
the point I'm trying to make is yes. I don't want to have this conversation, but I've made my point.
It's a great question.
I appreciate it. I thought of that earlier today.
It's really it's one of your best in show history.
So you're trying to say I should tweet it tonight?
I would tweet that.
Yeah. Okay.
After the show, I would tweet it.
All right.
I think that will generate a lot of discussion.
All right. Yeah, and I'll probably get ripped again. As far as the players go, I would say Adrian Beltre, great, consistent, solid third baseman.
Right.
Just a really good, like an Aramis, but just a tier up or two every year. Was just a tremendous player. Joe Mauer, obviously one of the best catchers, kind of like Buster Posey before Buster Posey, but obviously a much better pure hitter than Posey was. And then who's the third again?
Todd Helton.
Oh, yeah, Helton. Right. Yeah, Helton, just an unbelievable hitter, had some unbelievable seasons. I think he had like 370 one year.
Crazy.
And Billy Wagner should be in there too.
I like all these players, have good memories of them growing up. Didn't realize that. Well, actually, I want to quiz you on the teams they played for, so I'll leave that out.
Okay.
I do think at some point the Hall of Fame is going to have to be addressed one way or the other. You could even throw like a Pete Rose in there, Sam. Where's he? Is he ever going to be in there?
That's right.
The list goes on and on.
It's just hard for me to take it seriously when there's so many. Right. There's so many exclusions.
There's a lot of exclusions. Some of the best to ever play the game.
The best.
And the Billy Wagner missing out by 6 votes actually it's not more of a headline that the 3 guys that made it, but 6 votes is just, that type of gap is almost unheard of. So hopefully he gets in next year. Mauer and Helton were lifers with their teams, Twins and Rockies respectively. So I was wondering if you could name Beltre and Wagner's teams in their career. We could first do Beltre if you're up for a pop quiz.
Yeah,
pop trivia.
Rangers.
Which he played more years than this team.
Dodgers.
Right.
And Mariners, right?
Yeah, there was a one seasoner in there.
Let me think. Did he can I get a hint? Is this one of the OG franchises? Like one of the main ones. I think is it Yankees or Red Sox?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know which. I'll
Red
say
Sox.
Yeah. Okay. Jeez. Okay. God, throw me a bone.
How about Billy Wagner?
Astros, Mets.
Correct.
Yeah, I know that.
3 more.
Astros, Mets, Philly.
Correct. The last 2 are hard.
I think that might be about it.
So he did 1 season with the Red Sox too.
Oh, I have no recollection of that.
And then he finished his career with the Braves, which I had no recollection of.
What did he retire in, like 2011?
2010 was his last year. And he pitched well for the Braves, by the way. 1.7 ERAs last year.
Really?
1.7.
Really?
Not only was he not bad, he was dominant.
Well, didn't he have a year that he finished like top 5 in the Cy Young for the Astros?
Yeah, he struck out 124 men, like 70 innings. His ERA was like 0.99.
See, those are the things that irritate me in the trivia game. Like I should know as a lifer. Billy Wagner had a great year with the Braves. I'm sure Scott. I wonder if Scott
to cap his career.
Scott probably knew that. I should have
Your
known
cousin
that.
Scott.
Yeah. Because he grew up, Nashville. They had the Braves main TV.
Great trivia, right?
Yeah, it was really good. Thanks again for putting me on the spot.
You're welcome. Coming up next, one Cubs player that should be in the Hall of Fame of both the Cubs and baseball variety, but is not, is returning to Chicago in March, but not for the reason that you think. Stay tuned. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today covers the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Search Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Sammy Sosa will be appearing at the Chicago Sports Spectacular on March 16th and 17th at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont. The Chicago Sports Spectacular is a big show featuring autograph and photo opportunities with many athletes participating, and one of those is going to be Slammin' Sammy. Cubs fans are excited about this, and maybe he could swing by Wilmette and give a PowerPoint presentation to the Ricketts on his way.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm very pro Sammy Sosa. I think he deserves to be in the Cubs Hall of Fame. Mark McGuire's in the Cardinals. Bonds has been honored in San Fran.
Well, and they've worked in baseball.
Yeah, there's no need. But we've talked about that, and it'd be nice. Maybe we can get Sosa on this program.
Oh, it'd be phenomenal.
That's something we could do, because I could really, rattle off a lot of his seasons and a lot of his great moments.
Well, let's I certainly can try.
Yeah, well, and I can try too. We share a name.
Chicago Sports Spectacular, which is interesting name because the headliners for the Chicago Sports Spectacular are Sosa, and then three names that you always associate with Chicago, right? Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan.
Wait, really?
So it's really the Chicago Sports Spectacular.
Wait. Can you explain to me and the audience, what is this again? I wasn't
It's
listening.
like a big expo where you can get autographs and photos. The tickets are actually not too much to get in, but like to actually get autographs and stuff. Obviously,
Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Mike Tyson, and Sammy Sosa's the foursome.
Yeah. On the top
I might
tier.
have to go to that. I love those.
Should we go?
I love those four men. I mean, Hulk Hogan, the biggest long-term draw in WWE history, only topped by Stone Cold at his peak. Ric Flair, the greatest pound-for-pound pro wrestler in the ring, maybe in the history of the WWE. And, of course, Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet,
Wow.
dominated the late 80s in between two other Michaels, right? He came after one Michael Jackson and came right before the one that we know well, Michael Jordan. The late 80s, mid to late 80s was Mike Tyson's world. And then, of course, Sosa, who by far is the fourth biggest name on that list.
You know your history, that's for sure.
Well, I love those guys.
Wow, that's great. Well, I can send you a link or something like that.
To be honest with you, I just know about Hogan because I'm a WWE guy.
Right.
But yeah, I used to be a WWE guy. I don't really watch much anymore. I'm
Quite a variety of names.
30 years old. So,
Yeah.
but when I was a kid, Stone Cold, The Rock, Flair, the Hogans of the world, Undertaker, Kurt Angle. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Oh, I used to love it. My parents took me to a Monday Night Raw in Chicago in like 2001.
That's cool.
My dad made us leave an hour and a half in. He didn't really like it.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us
He's a little too much for him.
20 to 30 minutes, and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm. Shout out to the audio peeps, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere
Shawn Michaels.
you get your podcasts. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
There is momentum happening here.